And good morning. It's 7:04 on this Thursday, July 27th. It's time to head to Studio B for Coleman and Company.
Well, hello, everybody, and welcome. Thursday morning, I would say the sun is shining when it can through the clouds this morning, but it's going to be a tremendous day. We're glad to have you with us. And, of course, on Thursdays, at this time, we're on the air for Bates Ford, 1673 West Main in Lebanon, the dealer that'll trade for anything it don't eat. Well, we got Paul here this morning. Paul, good morning.
Good morning.
I'll bet you're playing a little more golf now.
It's football season now. So.
Okay. Ronnie Kelly, good morning to you.
Good morning.
And you're still selling cars.
Still selling cars.
Yeah. Well, what's the good word today?
The end of the month's coming. We're making some great deals at Bates Ford. We've got great inventory. Our new inventory's gotten back to being in good shape, and you're actually seeing some things that you haven't seen. Me and Mike McClendon, one of the sales managers, was talking yesterday. His daughter bought an Edge, and it had like $7,000 worth of rebates. So you haven't seen that in a long time.
7,000.
That's one of the bigger ones that I've seen in a while.
Yeah.
It was in the loaner program. Of course, you get the money for that, and then it was. What happens is Ford has a program called the Ford Courtesy Transportation Program, where we take new vehicles and put them for service customers to loan out. So once they hit a certain mileage, it's usually between 3,000 and 4,000 miles, you take them out, but there's additional funds that goes towards that, and you sell it as a new vehicle. Also, it was a 22 model, so it also had rebates, being that it was a 22. So after you added the courtesy transportation funds and the 22 rebate, it come up to about $7,000 off. So that's a pretty good deal there.
You got any more deals like that?
We got a 22 trimmer truck, that our last 22 vehicle we got on the lot, that's going to have some great rebates. So if somebody's interested in a new 22 F-150, it hasn't been in the loaner program, so it doesn't have the transportation funds, but it does have a good chunk of money off of it.
Well, if somebody wants one of them, Ronnie, I'm sure you hope they come to see you.
Yeah, those are great deals. I've sold a lot of those vehicles like that to come out of loaner, so I'm glad that the vehicles are getting back more plentiful, because we can put more loaner cars in and we'll have more deals like that. And I really like those type of deals.
Yeah. Well, it's somewhat of a different ball game now, and we've talked about this from maybe a couple of times recently. You just got more inventory, and the selection is better.
Yeah, and I mean, that makes it, one thing is when COVID and all the stuff went down, we couldn't really provide loaner vehicles, and what we do, our policy is, if you buy a vehicle from Bates Ford, we try to give you alternate transportation, and we try to keep it to the customers that buys from Bates Ford, for the simple reason we pay for it out of our dealership. So we want to take care of the people that took care of us. A lot of times I have people that buy elsewhere and stuff like that get upset, and I say, well, Mr. Bates pays for these, and I can be glad to call about a rental vehicle, but unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to provide you with alternate transportation, because we like to keep them for our Bates Ford customers. But that program is a great thing, because we actually take new vehicles and we put them in, and if you're interested in maybe buying an Edge or an Explorer, an F-150, and you don't know how you'd like it or like to drive, well, we have loaners in that program. If you're getting your car worked on or getting some service stuff, then we can put you in one of them vehicles, and you can basically go for an extended test drive.
Yeah. Ronnie, you still selling more trucks than anything else?
Yes, trucks are doing great, and I drove through the lot this morning, and we have a great selection.
You went there before you came in?
Yes, sir, I sure did, because I've been off a few days, and I come back and look at the inventory to see what's going on. So I looked at
getting your day planned.
Right, so we got a lot of different varieties of trucks, but we do have the F-150. We got new and used, but I looked at GMC, Dodge. We got work trucks. We got everything we need, and they've done a great job in keeping us in plenty of inventory.
Well, there's a lot going on. You're getting ready to move and getting a little more ready every day.
Yeah, me and Tony were astonished. We went over Monday and we did a walkthrough on the new facility, and man, he was like, good. They've made some strides. I mean, they've drywall, mudding. I mean, they've got electrical. It's starting to come together, and it looks. We're really proud of the way that it's turning out.
Well, it's going to be a different ball game, but it's right there by the interstate, very visible from I-40.
Yeah, it's beautiful. I love the way we let, where my house is and stuff. Generally, I'll come over the top of the interstate at Hartman, and then you can really, it pops from right there, and, you can see it from the interstate. So we're really proud of the way it's turning out.
Well, we haven't mentioned batteries, tires, or oil changes yet, and I guess we got about 2 weeks to do that.
Yeah, one thing I wanted to mention, part of our service, Ford has started a program called Pickup and Delivery, which it's a program where we'll come to your house, pick your vehicle up, you service it, and then deliver it back. So that's something that actually they're mandating that we do a certain percentage of our service. So if there's somebody that has a vehicle that they want to get serviced, if you'll call Bates Ford and say, hey, I'd like to schedule a pickup and delivery, we can only do yesterday we did 7. So if you want your vehicle picked up, and you serviced, and there's a program, they'll send you a text message, hey, they're on the way, hey, your vehicle's on the way back. So, it's kind of a pretty neat little program. On our oil changes, $39.95 up to 5 quarts. Batteries, you're my testament, I remind you every week. Meter beat anybody's price on battery. Our batteries are $149.95, 3-year warranty, 100-month prorated, and tires Ford will meet or beat anybody's price. We put 6 sets of tires on yesterday, and they weren't just Ford vehicles. There was Dodge, a Toyota. A friend of mine had a GMC work truck that's got a local business. Called me, said, hey, I need a set of tires. I gave him a price. He said, I'll have it down there in the morning. So local judge put 4 tires on his Explorer this week, so we've had a lot of tire business. Mm-hmm. So if you got anything you need done, please come see us at Bates Ford. If there's a vehicle you're interested in, go to www.tonybatesford.com and give one of our salespeople a call.
All right, Ronnie, you can have the last word quickly.
And if you got anything you want to turn into cash, bring it down to Bates Ford, and we'll trade for it.
Because you're the dealer that'll trade for anything it don't eat.
Yes, sir.
Thank y'all. See you next week.
Thank you.
That's Paul Tubbs, General Manager Ronnie Kelly in sales at Bates Ford, 1673 West Main in Lebanon. Again, the dealer that'll trade for anything it don't eat. We're 10 and a half after the hour. I am delighted to have Fire Chief Jason Baird as my guest for the first half this morning. He's right here in studio. Jason, good morning.
Good morning, Coleman.
It's good to see you again.
Good to see you.
And you were telling me before we went on the air here, and as well as Paul and Ronnie, that even though it's summertime, you are busy.
We are covered up. We're transitioning from an old fiscal year into a new fiscal year, so we're hiring. We just hired 7 personnel, so we're in the stage of background checks and physicals and drug screens and things like that with those 7. The 3rd of August, we'll be holding a promotional ceremony in our administrative building. We're getting to promote 14 personnel within our department. I'm really excited about that. That's one of the best things about my job is to be able to promote personnel. And this comes with the new fiscal year that the council and the mayor approved and the financial commissioner helped us navigate through, and promoting to some new captains and new lieutenants and new engineers and things like that. So it's exciting. It's a fun time to be around the department.
Well, a lot of times I'm thinking in the past somebody's got promoted and there's very little fanfare about it. I mean, you kind of want everybody to know, and I guess there's a certain good feeling that goes with that if you're the person being promoted, that you are in the limelight a little bit here, and I think we all appreciate that kind of thing.
We do. What we do is I do a ceremony. Basically, ceremonially, I'll let them sign their personnel action form for their pay increase. I let the men vote as a whole in front of it on the promotionary process, and then I let the family come in, and their children or their spouse or however their mother, the father can come in and pin the badge on them or give them their badge and their nameplate. So it's a big deal for our workforce. It's a fun time to be there.
And when's that coming up?
August the 3rd, at 5:15 at admin building. I'll probably have well over 100, 120, 150 people in there probably, more likely.
Okay. Well, what's causing you to are you receiving a lot of calls? Are you fighting a lot of fires? Doing a lot of wrecks? What's going on?
It's just the growth I think that we're seeing in our community right now. I didn't think based on the growth last year we would see the growth this year at the rate we are, but we are. We're well over our call volume for last year. Station 4, which is the 109 area, that area is growing tremendously. Our call volume down there is spiking pretty good. But our biggest call volume is still the Station 1 area around the post office. I mean, I guess the density in that location is just, I run 3 pieces of equipment out of there, and there's a lot of times that all 3 pieces is out doing something, either a wreck or some sort of a fire or a medical call or something like that. So it's that one and the 2 station behind the hospital, Mandy Wilson. Those 2 take the blunt of most of the call volume, which is We have a unit coming out of Station 1 that honestly probably it could see up to 15 calls a day, and each call lasting about 45 minutes to an hour average. And so that call those guys are extremely tired by the end of their 24-hour shift.
And calls are not always between 8 and 5 either, or 7 a.m. to 7 p.m.
You know, Coleman, it's funny you mention that because I feel like I'm a very articulate kind of person, but it is so difficult at times when I'm talking to I'll just be honest with you, with City Hall HR, not the mayor. The mayor understands it. City Council is fantastic, been working well with us. But at times I have a hard time getting them to understand that the world don't end at 5 o'clock. Most structure fires for us happen between 9 and 3 a.m. in the morning. And so when I'm trying to, right now I'm fighting for some on-call type stuff. So my investigators, every fire by state statute has to be investigated. And anything that's going to have an insurance claim, we will bring an investigator of our own out there and do an investigation. And so we have 4. We have 3 that's currently, we're fixing to have 4. And what we do with those guys, I'm trying to get where they get to rotate out 1 week at a time. And they can have a life outside the fire department because they're on call 24/7, 365. And, you know, and I'm fighting trying to get them an on call, which is basically just a little bit. It's just 2 hours of regular pay added to their pay is all it is. And but they honestly don't have a life because they can't get outside the scope of being able to respond because our call volume has got to such. This is a product of growth is what it is. And so that's going to go through the city council and get that added to us. And I won't have a problem at all in city council. But when I start the fight, it's like, okay, you just want them on call on the weekends. And I'm like, no, we work around the clock. So it's that as articulate as I try to be, I still have not painted that picture well enough for some folks.
Okay. Jason Baird is our fire chief for the city of Lebanon. He's here, and we'll talk more after this break on Coleman and Company, FM 98.9.
And let's see what's happening on the roadways. Want to thank our friends at Absolute Kubota. They have a deal designed to keep you ahead of schedule. Check out the world's #1 selling compact excavator, plus 0% financing. It's going on now until the end of the year. 1506 West Main. Now at traffic, here's Chuck.
Good morning. Still limping along down 65 southbound in Robertson County. Cleanup continues on a truck crash near the 105 mile marker. It's really slow through White House right now on 65 southbound. It's building pretty good as we check it out live again on I-40 over here on the west side. Coming past White Bridge Pike. Still looks good up through Brentwood. Franklin 24 is really heavy now. Right on schedule. 24 up through the Hickory Hollow area in from Rutherford County. Hey, Nash Painting services all of Middle Tennessee. Check them out at nashpainting.com. I'm Commander Chuck. You're on time traffic.
Renewal happens here at Lebanon Center for Rehabilitation and Healing. Lebanon Center for Rehabilitation and Healing has experienced new leadership and a new atmosphere. Same location in the heart of Lebanon, 731 Castle Heights Court on the Castle Heights campus. Lebanon Center for Rehabilitation and Healing is providing 5-star clinical outcomes to short-term and long-term care residents. Call 615-444-4319 for a tour and to experience the new culture. Renewal happens here at Lebanon Center for Rehabilitation and Healing.
What is your passion? How can you use that passion to enrich your community? Hi, this is Melanie Minter, President and CEO of the Lebanon-Wilson County Chamber of Commerce. Your chamber is the resource for making connections to fulfill your passion. Whether education, nonprofit, agriculture, entertainment, or government relations, Wilson County offers a place for you to be involved. Your chamber connects businesses, individuals, and your passion to the community. We have an enthusiasm for excellence. Join us and catch the spirit. Call or visit our office at 149 Public Square in Lebanon.
Coleman and Company, thanks for joining us. Jason Baird, our chief, is with us again. And what else on your mind? Well, I don't really have a question here. I just want to listen to you.
Well, I was thinking about, what was going to be on my heart to talk about this morning. And through the course of the night last night, we had several lift assist type calls through the night. And we have those every night. And this past week, about 2 weeks ago, I think, I went to the mailbox just like everybody else does, goes get my mail, and I'm going through it, and I have the same mail in my work mailbox as everybody else does, unwanted mail and flyers and monthly statements. And I come across a letter, and it was in a little personal envelope, and kind of like you used to see when you used to get a letter in the mail. And I looked at it. It had a handwritten return address, handwritten to our address. Mm-hmm. And you could tell by the handwriting that it was probably an elderly, probably female, probably that wrote just by looking at the envelope because her penmanship was a little shaky. And so I opened it up, and it was a handwritten note, about 2 paragraphs, and it was thanking us for what we did for the community. And you could feel the emotion; it was tangible, and you could feel the conviction that she was trying to get off her chest to be able to relay to us just truly how thankful she was to the Lebanon Fire Department for what they did in the community. And what I get from that is there's a demographic in our department that a lot of people may not know it exists. We run a medical call. I don't know how many a day. Lots and lots of them. And from the perspective of elderly folks in our community, let's say we get our first call to 123 West Spring Street. And it's an elderly male, elderly female. And we start talking to them. And the first call usually is just a scare, something don't feel right. And that's the beginning process of our personnel developing a relationship with that patient. And most of the time they sign a refusal and don't get transported because based on our people will check their vitals and things like that, and everything comes back normal. And then you start seeing a few more calls to that location. And then through time, that call doesn't become 123 West Spring Street anymore. It becomes either Mr. Joe's house or Miss Ernestine's house. And in time, if it's an elderly male, a lot of our people will know by that time if he's a veteran. If it's a female, our people will know how many children she may have. And they develop a relationship with that individual. And eventually that whatever their onset of medical condition is will eventually turn into a ambulance response and being transported and things like that. And then we begin the process of lift assist when they have trouble getting from the living room to the bedroom and things like that, or fall out of the bed. And that doesn't even get an ambulance response. That's just Lebanon Fire coming to your house and helping you get back in your bed. And then usually there's a transition that happens when we start going there several times during the course of a 24-hour shift. And our division chief, Joe Sims, will get involved, and we'll call the family and start talking to the family, and we'll help them transition into a possible home health care scenario or a healthcare facility or something like that. We just help them decide when that may be time, based on how many times a day we may be going to that residence. And from the perspective of a firefighter that we've developed this relationship with Mr. Joe or Miss Ernestine, most of the time we're on that last call. And we have developed a relationship and with the whole family by this point most of the time. And nowhere does it compare with the morning that a family would go through with a lost loved one. But our firefighters will go through the same mourning process. If I have, say you're at 123 West Spring Street, and I'll probably through the course of an illness have 30 members of my department that will have contact with that patient. So it resonates from one shift to the other. I have 3 24-hour shifts at work, and it'll resonate from one shift to the next about, we went to Mr. Joe's house, Miss Ernestine's house last night, this is what we had. The advantage of that from that scenario is the fact that when our firefighters enter that door, they already know all the ailments that patient has. We've already got to jump on that. They are able to immediately go in and to affect direct patient care because we already know we don't have to ask all the questions of what's going on unless it's just an early onset of something new or a byproduct of something they already had going on. But I just wanted to kind of explain that demographic that we have in our department that when we work with the elderly and that letter resonated with me because I can't remember the last time. You know, we live in a world of text messages and emails, and that's what I do. I text and email, and what you don't feel in that is the emotion that comes along with it. And you know, my own kids may never even understand what goes into a handwritten letter, and I think I probably didn't when I was young, but now as I've gotten older. That letter will probably sit on my desk the day I retire. And it was, you could just feel it. And the fact that she took the time to write that letter and you could just feel, it was a tangible emotion in that letter. So I'm very thankful for that aspect.
Has this scenario been, you've had this over and over and over, apparently.
We
You
have.
do it all the time.
We do. We do. It's that's a whole demographic. You know, think about firefighters. We fight fire, and we fight a lot of fire. We do. We have a lot of wrecks in this community. Fortunately, the traffic's gotten so slow now, we don't have our wrecks ain't as bad because the traffic's gotten so bad. But we do have a lot of calls on the interstate. We had a call last night. Vandy Life Flight, their ground transport, had a patient go into cardiac arrest in our jurisdiction. And we basically go out on I-40 and assist them and help them. Our firefighters will jump on the ambulances and drive the ambulances to the hospital so the paramedics and everyone can work in the back of the ambulance. That happens daily. So by the time the paramedics come from Wilson EMA and we do an ambulance transport, there's a decision already been made about, you know, we're going to drive their ambulance or our people's going to stay in the back and do chest compressions or bag breathing or something like that. So it takes an army right now based on our call volume and things like that, and we get stretched thin at times. But that interaction with the community is a demographic that a lot of people may not understand. And I don't know where your listening audience is, but if you are a young person or have a mother and father that live in our community, City of Lebanon, I want you to know that you're in good hands with our people at Lebanon Fire Department, and we will help you in any way we can. Transition through the process of aging and all those type things. So it is, we have a lot of calls that we have that kind of mindset in that demographic or that situation. So and that's what that letter prompted that thought. And then last night with all the lift assists we had and things like that. And that is a lot of our call volume.
Well, I'm wondering here with the increase in call volume and so on, you already have hired some more, but it sounds like it's not going to be long before you're going to need even more.
Well, we've got a station in the planning stage, so we are. The mayor's been very receptive. The city council has been very good to Lebanon Fire Department. Our financial commissioner's been very easy to work with, and we are in the process of planning a new station.
You at liberty to tell us where?
South Hartman Drive, right across from, if you're familiar with the Empower Me Day Camp property that they've got on South Hartman, straight across the street is a street that goes back into that camper company. The new camper company is back in there. That's the proposed area right now, is right there on that street. There's not a lot of growth right there, but I need a station there. The growth is on paper. It's not the dirt hadn't been turned. A lot of places it has, but it hasn't been turned yet. But I need some help in my district in Station 1 across from the post office. I've got to get some help to those guys because the call volume is in that area. And that location will help me go that way, and it'll help me go to I-40, and it'll help me help Station 2, which is our second busiest station. And it'll allow me to get something close to the interstate as far as a rescue truck to get on I-40 and effect a rescue. We do all the rescues in the city of Lebanon. It doesn't matter if it's water, trench, rope, car accident. Every rescue will come through. And honestly, we do a lot of rescues outside our jurisdiction into the county. Fantastic relationship with Wilson EMA. I know I say that a lot. In Mount Jewett Fire, they had we could have a confined space call at any minute, based on trench rescue. You think about how many times you see a ditch in a new area, we have putting a new water line or sewer line in, things like that. So we have to be, you think, how in the world does a firefighter get all this time to do the training, to be prepared for that? And the first 2 years of an employee, he's pretty much training. He's got, now new hires will come in. I'm going to spend 3 weeks with them, 1 week of orientation and 2 weeks preparing them for the fire academy. They go to the fire academy on September the 5th. They spend 10 weeks at the fire academy. They come back, they get their feet on the ground, and by that time they would be recognized as a certified firefighter. They go straight from that to 15 weeks of EMT school. That when they leave that EMT school, there'll be an EMT and an advanced EMT once they pass the state registry type testing. So the whole first year and a half, and then we have some specialty classes built in there. They'll go to 2 weekends of water rescue. They'll go into a RIT class and a smoke divers class, which is they're specifically for that firefighter. And what they do is they basically take that firefighter to the limit of running out of air to complete exhaustion, and then they make sure they know what to do. And muscle memory will take over at that point if they have enough training in it about how to escape from a burning building, things like that. So there's a lot going on with them.
Boy, well, there's so much training and so much involved in the first year and a half. You want to make sure who you hire is going to stay with you, not leave after a year or two.
Yes. to your point, I'm used to posting one position and getting 120-something applicants, I'll be honest with you. I posted 7 positions, and I got right at 50 applicants this last time. I was hiring 7. I face-to-face interviewed 12. I've never had a pool that small. I don't care if it's 7, if it's the right 7. Through this 12, and it was difficult, we have the right 7. I'm very excited. The last group we hired, same scenario, I hired 11 and had 56 applicants. And those 11, I usually lose 1 out of 4. That's kind of where it goes. And from the perspective of an employee, when they sign that line, I'm $11,000 vested in that employee at that moment by buying their radio, their turnout gear, all the things they have to be efficient. And I lose 1 out of 4. When I brought those 11 in last year, I said, I'll lose, look around, everybody don't want to be here, in a year. All 11's still there. And I think this 7 I hired, I think all 7 will be there. So I'm really, really happy.
Jason, we're out of time. Thanks for being with us this morning. We appreciate your visit. A lot of good information, and thank you very much.
Thank you, Coleman.
Jason Baird, Lebanon Fire Chief, Part 1 of Coleman and Company. Part 2 is coming up, so stay with us here, FM 98.9.
And let's see what's happening on the roadways. It's all brought to you by our friends at Bates Ford. That regular oil change is $39.95 up to 5 quarts of oil, tax and disposal, $16.73 West Main. Now with traffic, here's Chuck.
Good morning. It's a little bit slow go as you make your way down through Robertson County as cleanup continues on an early morning truck crash. 65 southbound at the 105 mile marker near Bethel Road. Again, it's still crawling through White House. Traffic's really picked up with volume just in the last 10-15 minutes. 24 westbound and through the Hickory Hollow area, leaving Rutherford County headed towards Nashville. Nash Painting Services, all in Middle Tennessee. If you want your house painted by professionals, call these guys today. Check out their website, nashpainting.com. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
And now, a moment of silence to remember our dear friend.
Sorry. Oh, man. Life can be uncomfortable. Your home doesn't have to be. With a wide range of air conditioners, furnaces, and heat pumps, Rheem makes it easy to feel comfortable, even when you can't be comfortable.
Financing available through TVA's Energy Right program and your local power company. Call Randy's Heat and Air 237-3604.
Hey, this is Paul at Bates Ford. We got some great deals going on for you. 0% interest is back. We've got 0% interest on F-150s and Edges and rebates even up to $3,000. On the service side, we've got the Works vehicle package, which includes an oil change and a tire rotation. We'll meet or beat anybody's price on tires. We have batteries for the low price of $149.95 installed on most vehicles. Come see us at Bates Ford, 1673 West Main Street, or visit us on the web at www.tonybatesford.com, the dealer that'll trade for anything that don't eat.
A warm up today, even warmer temperatures tomorrow. Mostly sunny skies by the afternoon, a high of around 95. Tonight, mostly clear, back down to 72. For your Friday, sunny, hot, a high nearing 100. Much of the same on Saturday as well. This weather forecast is brought to you by Walker Auction and Realty, professional auction and real estate services. Get top dollar for your home, land, or personal property. Log on to MikeWalkerAuctions.com. They know auctions. Let's look at your forecast. I'm Stormy Clausen.
Coleman and Company, welcome to Part 2. It is a Thursday morning, and we're glad now to talk about A.G. Johnson Realty and Auction. Jay White is with us. Jay, good morning.
Good morning, Coleman.
Good to have you here. You're soloing today, as we can say.
I am. I'm a little nervous about it, too, to be honest with you.
A.G. Johnson Realty and Auction, 728 West Main in Lebanon. Their website, www.agandjohnson.com, and that phone number, which we give out each week, is 615. You want to help me out here?
I'll try 444-0909.
All right, you got some auctions to talk about.
We do, Coleman. We do. This Saturday morning, we're going to be in the Smith County area, right outside of the Grant community on Possum Hollow Road. With a Watertown, it's a Watertown address. We're right on the corner of Eastus Lane and Possum Hollow Road. Got a beautiful 140-acre farm out there. Just a good rolling farm. One as beautiful a piece of land as you'll find in Smith County.
140 acres is a pretty big spread.
It really is. It really is. It lays on Possum Hollow Road and Eastus Lane there. It has 2 houses on it. One house was built in the early 90s. A brick home in the early 90s is selling with a 1 acre tract of land. land, and it is a nice little ranch-style house, 3 bedrooms, 2 baths, has a finished garage, finished basement with bedrooms in the basement, and also a living area there in the basement with a detached garage. Just a nice comfortable home. If you're looking for a nice comfortable home right in the country, it would be a great place to be. It's also improved with an older farmhouse with outbuildings and barns. It's an older home. If you're looking for a restoration project, it would be a great restoration project and be a great home if you're into primitive antiques and that sort of thing, to fill with antiques when you get through. That's some great cut rock, cut stone chimneys on it. It would make somebody a beautiful home if they put a little heart and love in it. It would be a great place to be. And it has 17 acres with it, so you'd have enough property there for some animals to roam. But the book of this farm is being sold in tracts, and they range anywhere from 1 acre all the way up to almost 20 acres. They range a lot of smaller tracts if you're looking for a place to build a first-time starter home, or it would be a great place for that. Also, these acreage tracts, if you're into more agricultural reasons, it'd be a great place for cattle and horses to roam. There's some beautiful hillside views from these larger tracts, and just a great farm up there. We just can't wait till Saturday morning to get up there and get started. But there's also just a lot of personal property there to sell too. So we will sell the farm. It will sell at 10 o'clock. So come out, we'll sell the land at 10, and then as soon as we get through selling the property, we'll roll right into selling personal property. This house was furnished in primitive antiques. We've got some beautiful pieces of furniture. If you're into primitive Tennessee furniture, there's just some rare and unusual pieces there. They also collected glassware, and there's some guns, also some coins and tools and those sort of things. So there's something there for everybody. So just come out Saturday and be with us. I know I took a little time on this, but we'll be there most of the day. So I hadn't planned on doing anything else Saturday, but being up on Possum Hollow selling that. And then once we get through Saturday and that's over, we'll go into August the 5th. The next week, we're going back to the Grant community. And this is going to be on the Trousdale Ferry Pike. They're here close to the radio station, just right across the Wilson County line in Grant. We're going to be up there on August the 5th. We're going to be selling a little over 90 acres here on Trousdale Ferry Pike, and it's just some great acreage property. There's 5 acre tracts up. There's some wooded land. There's also some great ponds on this property. A nice ranch brick house there that would make somebody a great place to raise a family. There's a lot of mature timber on these tracts. If if you like big mature trees, you need to come up and take a look. Just a great farm right in the heart of Grant, I guess you could say. Just right on the Smith County line. Mm-hmm. We've got vehicles, trucks, tractors, coins, pocket knives, and they were avid glassware collectors also. If you're looking for some rare and unusual pieces of glass, they will be there, along with some Lillian Russell and Cumberland Valley bedroom suits. We just got lots of things to sell the next 2 weeks.
You've got 2 almost identical type sales in Smith County there. Just about.
Just about. One of them has a lot, more smaller tracts than the other, and I'd say the one that we're going to have on Trousdale Ferry is more probably has more mature trees and that sort of things on it. But they're 2 great farms, and we're just tickled to death to have the opportunity to help these families out.
We're about out of time. You've got some more you want to mention?
No, we're pretty good on that, I guess. But just come out and be with us.
All right, the next 2 Saturdays.
Next 2 Saturdays.
In the same general area.
In the same general area of the country, just right across the Wilson County line over in Smith County.
All right.
Thanks, Coleman.
Well, thank you for being with us. Jay White, AG and Johnson Realty and Auction, 728 West Main. 444-0909. All right, see you next week.
All right, thank you.
Okay, we're about 22 before the hour, and I do have a special guest for part 2 this morning. I have an author He has written a book, but there's a lot more that we want to find out about this gentleman. His name is Robert Dennis, and Mr. Dennis, good morning.
Thank you.
It's nice to have you with us today.
Oh, it's a pleasure to be here.
Well, now, you've given me a little bit of information, and I have your book in front of me, too. The book is titled From a Foster Kid to Millionaire to Songwriter. And you have written this book. I take it is for sale now, right?
Yes, it's in several places where they sell books.
How long has it been available? When did you finish it?
It came to market about the middle of April.
Okay, so not long. Couple of months.
No, the book company is just now getting into the selling stage.
Okay. Well, let me thank Charles C. Finley for telling me about you. She sent me some information the other day, an email, and I responded. And she was, you're a little bit older than I am. You are in your upper 80s, I believe, right?
Yes, I'll be 90 next year.
Oh, okay. You're almost 90. Have you just finished this book? I mean,
it took me a year to write it because I did it when I thought of memories of stories to write and tell about. Well, and it took another year and a half to get it out on the market.
Well, you have had an interesting life for sure. And I'm going to read a little bit right here about you. It says, born in Nashville, Tennessee, author Robert Dennis spent the first 5 years of his life growing up on his grandfather's farm in Kingston Springs before being moved back to Nashville with his family. After entering the foster care system, the author and his siblings lived with the Bright family on their farm while finishing out his schooling. After working for 2 months at Avco, Dennis went on to work at Robert Orr Wholesale Grocery Distributing Company before spending 3 years in the Army. And then following that, he continued at Robert Orr, which became the company's Cisco, until advancing to the position of Vice President of Purchasing and Merchandising before retiring in 1999. And you lived most of your life in Mount Juliet, Tennessee, was married. Has been married now for 61 years, raised 3 daughters, all of whom have gone on to become successful in their own right. So your story is a success story, for sure.
Yeah, it's not the normal route that a foster kid takes. My primary target was to encourage foster kids to be more than foster kids and more than what society thinks about them. Mm-hmm. They're usually looked upon as throwaway kids.
Yeah.
And not going to be very good the rest of their life. But they don't have to be foster kids all their life. That's what I want to tell them.
So this is a book of encouragement for those, right?
Yes.
Well, how has has the book been accepted well so far? If you even had time to tell.
It has been here at Amazon because they've reordered it 3 or 4 times.
Well, that sounds good.
That sounds good.
Well, tell us about what it was like your earlier years and being a foster child. There's some challenges there that most people don't have, and maybe a lot of us aren't even aware of some of those things.
Well, before I was a foster kid, I was in a children's home down in Hickman County. Mm-hmm. Hickman, and it was way out in the wilderness. There's nobody around but us, and everything was us. And it was during World War II. Everything's rationed, so we were almost self-supporting. It was farm, and I spent 2 years there, and it was like social government. Everything belonged to the home. That's the way they called us when we went to school, and they didn't give us names at school. They'd say he's from the count. They didn't mention names. We would get clean clothes in the bath twice a week. But the weird part about it, the only thing I really owned was my toothbrush and my shoes.
Really?
Everything else belonged to the cow. So if your family brought you a new suit of clothes, you could wear them the first time, but after that, anybody could wear them.
How was school difficult for you at all?
No, school was not difficult for me. I just got by. I didn't try to be a star. I didn't try to not do anything. I knew I had to get an education. I wanted to go to college when I got out of school. But that didn't happen because I was a foster kid. I had planned to work night times and go to school daytimes. But they didn't tell me I was going to be aged out till about 2 or 3 weeks before I was 18. And when you're 18, you're aged out. A foster kid, you own your own. Oh. There's the door and there's the world. Go conquer it. But it's a little different now.
Yeah.
But
well, so then you're just at 18. You're on your own.
You're on your own. That's it.
What did you do?
I had to go get a job somewhere.
Yeah.
Because we had an agreement with the foster family. I could stay there as long as I paid them what Child Services was paying for me to be there.
Uh-huh.
And I did that. They were good to me and let me do that. But I got a job. Went to work for AVCO. The Korean War ended. I was working daytime. I wanted to go to college, so I asked for transfer to the night shift. They laid me off. Oh. We were building airplanes. They had a contract. They wanted to run that as long as they could, so they didn't need as many workers. So I went uptown to the Tennessee Department of Unemployment or something, because that fellow had come to school and invited us all to come see him if we ever needed a job. Well, he liked what he saw that I could do, so I went up and talked to him. He had a job at this wholesale grocery company right down the street. Uh-huh. So I went down there and interviewed with the executive vice president, which was 1/4 owner of the company at that time. And he needed somebody to type invoices then. Didn't have computers back then.
Yeah, right.
So he said, get over there and type me samples. I did. And I went back over and he said, you want to start to work right now? I said, no, I got cow feed in the trunk of the car. I got to get home, milk the cows. But I'll be back. You'll be here Monday morning. So I was.
We need to take a break right here. My guest is Robert Dennis. His book is From Foster Kid to Millionaire to Songwriter, and it is available. We'll tell you how you can get a copy later on. But a break right here. This is Coleman and Company, FM 98.9.
And let's see what's happening on the roadways. Thanks to our friends at Absolute Kubota. They have a deal designed to keep you ahead of schedule. Check out the world's #1 selling compact excavator, plus 0% financing is going on now until the end of the year. 1506 West Main. Now at traffic, here's Chuck.
Good morning. Still very slow go as cleanup continues on an early morning truck crash there in Robertson County. 65 southbound at the 105 mile marker. It's still very slow through White House. Traffic's increased quite a bit now on I-40 over here at the airport out of Hermitage, Donaldson coming in from Wilson County. 24 is crowded, 24 westbound there at Bell Road. Prince's Hot Chicken is catering. Check out that menu today online at princeshotchicken.com. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
Are you thinking about buying a new home? Let A.G. & Johnson assist you with your new home search. From the first-time home buyer to the empty nester, we are experienced in all facets of the home buying process. We will be with you every step of the way. No matter if you are buying, selling, downsizing, or upsizing, we can assist you with your real estate needs. Call us at 615-444-0909 or find us online at agandjohnson.com or Facebook A.G. & Johnson Realty. A.G. & Johnson is your community's trusted realty and auction company.
It's your first day in business, a new space, real investors, and butterflies the size of dinner plates. For peace of mind, protect your dream and call THW Insurance. Local folks representing quality companies like Westfield Insurance. Whether your business is large or small, contact Lori Carter at 615-443-6530 or stop in and see her at Wilson Bank and Trust, 1476 North Mount Juliet Road.
Thanks for joining us. We continue here on this Thursday morning, and if you joined us late, my guest is Robert Dennis. He's almost 90 years old. He's written a book, From Foster Kid to Millionaire to Songwriter. Now, we were talking during the break here. When you started working, you had turned 18, you were out on your own, and you accepted this job. And your daughter here is wanting you to tell everybody how much you made.
I was... John wanted me to come in first day of the week. First day I was there, he hired me at 80 cents an hour.
80 cents an hour.
And his father wasn't there, who owned the company.
Yeah.
So he watched me Monday while I was working, and he come over at lunchtime to say howdy. And he said, "I believe John hired you too cheap. I'm going to raise you a nickel an hour." And I know, now that's nice. Get a raise on the first day.
Isn't it? Yeah. But you were able to, you stayed with this company.
I stayed with that company.
And worked your way to the top, or nearly the top.
I did good work, and they appreciated it. They liked me. They give me opportunities, and I took care of them. Until I got a little older, Army wanted me.
Uh-huh.
And everybody from Lebanon went down there on a bus load of folks. I had to come here and then go there. Everybody passed. So I knew they were going to take me, so I went to see what they had available. And they convinced me to volunteer. I wasn't drafted.
Uh-huh.
I had to volunteer for 3 years to get what they had offered.
Which branch did you volunteer with? Which branch?
The Army.
You went to the Army, okay.
I went to the Army. They lied to me. When I got in the Army, I found out you didn't have to volunteer for 3 years. They was recruiting people drafted for the same job that I applied for. When I was aged out, by the time the Army got me, my younger brother was aged out. And he went into the Air Force.
Mm-hmm.
And the Children's Services says, well, he's working and you working. You now going to have to take care of your sister. So the Army told me, and I told them I had a dependent sister. They said, that's all right. We'll get her a Q allotment. I don't know whatever it is, but that means a dependent allotment.
Uh-huh.
Well, I got in the Army. She wasn't getting it. So I went to see the Adjutant General, and he says the Army does not accept sisters as dependents. You don't get nothing. So it happened. Me and my brother both had to send half of our pay back to take care of her because she's still in school.
Oh, wow.
So we were getting $80 a month, so we were sending $40 a month back home to take care of our sister.
Yeah. Well, I'm anxious to know here. I mean, you're talking about kind of being in dire financial straits here, barely getting by. How did you become a millionaire?
Well, the people I worked with were wealthy, and they all invested in assets.
Mm-hmm.
Sort of rubbed off on me. Well, I didn't have much money. I still don't have much money. But I have assets. Assets will appreciate. Money will depreciate, as you can see it going on right now.
Yes, yes.
So it's been a long time accumulating.
Uh-huh.
And of course, as I grew up on $40 a month in the Army, I learned how to be pretty conservative. And when I was a foster kid, didn't have nothing.
So you know how to pinch pennies.
Yes.
and probably still are.
Yes, I still am conservative. My wife accused me of that all the time. Trying to save my money. I'm not trying to save my money. I'm just trying to make it worthwhile. But I have been well blessed. I've been in 40 states in this country, in 8 foreign countries. I've seen a lot of things. I got a lot of memories.
How do you feel about the direction that our country seems to be headed right now?
Right now?
Without getting too political here, but what do you think of the situation, say, in Washington, D.C., and the way things are going?
We drifted more towards the social outfit that I witnessed when I was in the children's home. That we really won't own anything and the government will be in control. You'll be obligated to the government, which is not good.
Yeah. Well, what message do you? It wouldn't necessarily be just for foster children. It could be for anybody. I mean, you no doubt have done well. You've got a good story to tell, and you do tell it in your book here, no doubt. But what would you tell the people that are listening this morning?
One of the things I would tell the foster kids that wherever they are a part of that organization. And everything that you do is a respect on that organization. And same way, if on the home you're in, you're part of that family. And whatever you do is a respect on that family. I get part of that company. What I do, my life, I'm part of that company. I'm part of this radio program right now. I don't want to say anything that make it negative to anybody. So you got to live your life with respect to everybody else. I'm also, I consider myself a student of the Bible. I go through it, read it every year for so many years, and I find lots of wisdom there.
You read the Bible once each year, over a year's time.
I read it every day.
Yeah.
And I consider it, in my mind, it's a manual for human beings, how to live and how to operate. If I was going to publish it for the public out there, that's what I'd entitle it, a manual for human living, how to get along with each other.
Have you had, in your nearly 90 years, have you ever had a time when you really had a problem getting along with somebody?
No, not really.
No?
My own opinion is, and I would love to share it with the government, if two people have the same objective in mind, they can come to an agreement. That ain't happening up in Washington.
Yeah.
Because they don't have the same objectives in mind. But I believe you can do that.
I have a feeling people in our audience are going to want a copy of your book. And again, it's From Foster Kid to Millionaire to Songwriter. Robert Dennis, who is my guest here. What's the best way to get a copy? Get a copy of your book. How? How can somebody get a copy of your book?
Oh, it's in a lot of stores, or they can. Amazon sold a lot online.
Mm-hmm.
But one thing we hadn't touched on is my songwriting. I've been successful in everything else. I've written lots of songs. I got about 500 songs that need music in a demo. But it's hard to talk to people in the music business. So I'm still looking for a musician and a publisher to get the songs into the market.
You have written 500 or more songs.
Oh, 500, yes.
Amazing.
I have lots of memories. I usually write from memory or an event. And I write for life, about life.
So, would they be more? Would it be more like country music?
It would depend on the type of music they put to the words.
Okay, all right.
As to what category they call it, but it's primarily traditional country.
Right, but you haven't put music to it, I take it.
No.
All right. So okay. So you write the words, not the notes.
I can't get my sound to match the instrument at the same lick. I don't know music.
Well, hopefully there's somebody out there that would like to have what you have
Be a
written,
co-writer.
put it to music, and maybe you really have something.
Yes.
Yeah.
Both of us.
Well, is there a way best way to contact you if somebody wanted to get in touch with you?
Get in touch with me.
Yeah.
I guess we could call me on the telephone.
Okay. We'll just give out your telephone number.
No, I live in no man's land. My telephone number is Lebanon.
Okay.
615-449-0810. My address is Hermitage.
Well, we can leave that
or email.
Leave that with me, and if somebody wants to get in touch with you, we'll take care of that. And you do have an email address you want to give out? Okay.
RB Dennis at 168 BellSouth.net.
Okay. All right. Well, we're in our final 30 seconds here. It's really been a pleasure to have you with us this morning. You're an amazing person, no doubt.
Thank you.
And,
it's been my pleasure.
No doubt. Your book is a good one, too. I've only seen the cover of it. From foster kid to millionaire to songwriter Robert Dennis. Hope you'll get a copy of it, and maybe one of these days we can have you back again. Thanks for being with us today.
I appreciate that.
All right.
Thank you.
That's going to do it for Thursday. Tomorrow, if all goes well, we'll be here for the Friday edition. And until then, I wish you a tremendous day.